Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of Finding Fandom. In this one, we are joined yet again by a friend over there in the UK. He's a friend now, I can tell you that, because I had a great conversation with Cade from Cade's Comics. And this really happened because he was featured over at Mad Dog Comics, Marcus's channel, and he was talking to the guys and we seemed to have a blast with him. And my interest grew with him as he has his own segment called Beyond the Page, where he uses stock footage and B-roll for pretty much every word in every sentence that comes out in his overviews on different writers. And I just thought that was fun and fascinating, as I myself try to use B-roll footage for some of my more storytelling videos. And so I found an interest and I contacted him, and he would gladly join my Finding Fandom series, as well as he's a fairly new YouTuber, and I wanted to know his perspective on the community and what a collection really should be and look like, as I was interested in having this new fresh perspective in comparison to one that has done this for almost 10 years now. And so I had a great conversation, and we kept on talking actually, but we didn't record it. But I know that I'll talk more with Cade in the future. And so yeah, here is Cade's Comics. Enjoy. What's up, Cade?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm doing fine, thanks. How are you?
I'm good. Thank you for having me on the show. I look forward to it. I look forward to being here.
Thank you for being here. I'm very much looking forward to this. You're very highly spoken of in the community, believe it or not.
Good. Good. Yeah.
And
it seems weird to hear that.
yeah, I mean, Adam from Comic Bound and Mad Dog Comics, they were the first ones to snatch you up to have you on their live stream MDC chat. How was that, by the way?
It was really great. I really enjoyed it. It was my first kind of time being on a show. So for someone that's I do this out of my bedroom. I have the camera here and I just sit and talk. So to sort of be on a show, it was really strange, but I really enjoyed it. I spoke with Marcus and Adam quite a lot beforehand.
Yeah.
Quite a lot, on Facebook, on Instagram, I got to know them, and then Marcus added me to this Facebook group with him and Adam, and we spoke for a few days before the show actually went live. But it was really nice to actually speak to them face to face, because obviously, when you're just messaging someone, you don't really connect as much as you do face to face, I feel. So
yeah, you don't hear you can't hear the tone of the other one. That's the thing that I always struggle with, because you always set your own tone to certain words and everything. Most of the wording within the comic book community going back and forth is very good, but still you have your own little mind demons to oh my god, did I just say something that disturbed someone? That's me on social media nonstop, and just worrying about rubbing someone the wrong way. Saying more about me than you.
No, the one thing that I did kind of worry about doing the live show was whenever I do my videos, I will I'll trip up over my words, or I'll just stumble, or I'll be and take a long pause. So that was one thing that I was kind of worried about going live, but it was okay. And I'm looking forward to doing this as well. Yeah. So I hopefully if I do kind of stumble or stutter or anything, it's not too noticeable, not
it's
too bad.
All right. Should I mark the time for every stutter? Because I can start doing that to myself then even. I mean, I could dissect this like Frankenstein it totally, which I do with my own videos actually.
I know, I'm the same.
So, I mean, let's start here, because you are actually my first, I would say, proper interview as it goes for interviewing someone that you don't really know, because I've only heard by you from other people. And so, yeah, introduce you and Cade's Comics.
Yeah, so Cade's Comics, I've started kind of uploading comic content now. God, probably like a year ago. It was during the first lockdown. So now I have a channel. I have a channel. Now I have a series on the channel, Beyond the Page, where we look at comic creators. I do like reviews, unboxings. I've started doing 5 recent reads. So every time I read like 5 books, I'll sit and talk about them and recommend them without spoilers. I just kind of upload various comic videos and then like Beyond the Page and reviews and stuff. But I've been doing it for I think a year in September was when I started.
Yeah.
So that was during the first lockdown. That was weird because like I'd read a lot of comics before then. I kind of got into it through the New 52, through Scott Snyder's Batman run.
A lot of people went in that way.
Yeah, it was a good introduction. Although my very first book I ever read was The Killing Joke by Alan Moore. So
that's not bad.
It was good, but I was 11 when I read it. So
yeah. How does an 11-year-old cope with that? I mean, I don't think an 11-year-old knows what's going on almost.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I read that because I literally went on Google and I was like best comic books, and that was like I think it was that Watchmen and stuff. And I'd seen the Zack Snyder Watchmen film, and I wasn't really a massive fan of it. So I was like, okay, well, I'll go with Batman because I like Batman. And 11-year-old Cade was kind of like, what is this? But then the New 52 was kind of like my proper start in it. Like that was what really got me to read and got me in it. So.
Nice.
Yeah.
Then I got my first standard question answered right away. But how did you discover comic books? The Killing Joke out of everything.
Yeah, I know. I know. I think that the New 52 was really like my introduction. But then, so I read that when I was like 11 or 12, and then kind of stopped reading comics for quite a while.
Everybody does at some point.
Yeah, I read the New 52. I remember reading Zero Year on my way to go and see BVS when that came out in 2015, I think, or something, 16, 15?
Yeah, 2016.
2016. Yeah, so I would have been like 15, 16 then. And I was reading Zero Year on the way there. Then I, went and saw the film, came out and read like Graveyard Shift and the rest of everything else. And then, I just kind of took like 2-3 years off comics. And then during the first lockdown, Zavvi, I don't know if you're familiar with Zavvi at all, if you've got anything from there.
Is that a comic book? Is it a YouTube channel? What are we talking about?
It's a company. It's a company that's like they sell pretty much like figures, clothes, statues, books, everything. They had just like a sale on that was like 20. I think it was 20 or 10 books or something for like £10 or £20. And
good deal.
It was amazing. I was just kind of like, you know what? I'm in lockdown. I'm stuck in the house. I'll give this a read, and that kind of got me back into it. So
what were the titles that you looked out for then? I mean, you already had some pre-experience of it with the New 52. What were you looking for kind of when you were going back into it?
So it was all DC books at the time that were all in the like 20 or 10 books or whatever. It was all DC books. So I remember you could pick, and I remember picking stuff out of that. I'd also picked up from eBay, I think, Dark Knight's Death Metal around the same time. So I had Scott Snyder's Death Metal, and then I had these other books, and I remember just having stuff like Superman. It might have been Last Son of Krypton, and I think Hush as well, and stuff like that. Nice. So it's good. Yeah.
Have you gotten the chance to read Hush yet?
Yeah. I read Hush a while ago, actually, when I kind of read the New 52 stuff. So the thing is, when I read that, I got the New 52, and then a company called Eagle Moss, who do the hardback books, they started bringing out their weekly volumes or bi-weekly or something like that. So the first 2 of those was Hush, and then the third one was Last Son of Krypton. And I'd read those a while ago, and then they were in like the 10 books for £20 or whatever. And so I was like, oh yeah, I'll get these.
Is that the first thing that you get if you would start a subscription or so with Eagle Moss? Hush.
Yeah. It was part 1 and part 2. I have them like back there.
That's a great move, I think, from the company. Actually, introduce them for Batman Hush, and the audience will want more.
Yeah, definitely.
Did you keep on going with it, or did you look for other stuff?
Yeah, so I read Hush, which was the first two, and then Last Son of Krypton was the third one, and then I think the fourth one was Tower of Babel. But that
From
was kind of
JLA, Mark Wade.
that was kind of around the time I kind of like stopped, and then I've picked it up since and read Tower of Babel. I really enjoyed that, and I've kind of tried to fill out that collection a bit more. So yeah, I've been doing that.
Have you watched any of the DC animated movies archived?
Yes, I have actually. I've watched. I'm trying to think which ones I've watched. I've watched like Flashpoint Paradox, Assault on Arkham. I have all my DVDs here on the shelf, and I've got like, I can't even see where it is, but it's like a 5-film box set of the animated films. It's over there, and then it's got stuff like, I'm trying to think. I think the Hush film is in there. The Assault on Arkham, the Year One, the like Tale of Batwoman. I think is that one as well.
We have Bad Blood. Batwoman is featured in that. Oh, we have The Mystery of Batwoman also. Yeah. That's a Bruce Timm movie.
Yeah, I've seen both of those.
Let me give you one recommendation then, based on that you like the Tower of Babel. There's a Justice League movie called Doom.
Okay.
And that is basically, with some switch arounds with characters, still, it's a very good base on the Tower of Babel storyline with Justice League. And I just thought of it. I import most of my DVDs and Blu-rays from the UK, so it's probably not available in the UK if I haven't found it. But however, I'm not saying how you find it. Go watch it.
Yeah, I'll try and find it.
Yeah. And okay, so with Cade's Comics, am I wrong to say that someone else actually came up with that name or suggested it for you?
So this is the thing. So I just, at first, for the sort of like first 9 months, or well, not even that, I just went by Cade Rippon, which is my name. Like I just had that, out there, and then I was thinking of actually changing it. And then Marcus, during the MDC8, he messaged me and was like, "Oh, I've just put Cade's Comics because I like the alliteration." And that was actually like, I had like a few at the top of my list. Like I had Cade's Comics, and then like I can't even remember some of the other ones. But Marcus said that to me, and I was like, "How did you know? How did you know I was thinking of changing it?" So he put that on, and that was kind of like the push. And I was like, "Yeah, I'll change it now." So I changed it to Cade's Comics, and I've really been enjoying it a lot more. And I found that a lot of people have actually found my channel better through having comic in the name, as strange as it sounds, like as stupid as it sounds. It's like having Cade's Comics, people find the channel, and like since changing the name, I've had people message me and watch the videos and comment and stuff and been like, "Oh, I only just found your channel, but like I'm really enjoying going back and watching all your episodes beyond the page."
Yeah, when it comes to channels names, I've actually thought about sometimes about changing it, but then I think I'm stuck with Joachim Comic Center because I've used it for 9 years, and but I still want the like JCC spelling of it. But I was thinking if I would change comic, maybe creator, and still have the center. I don't know. I still like to cling to it. I don't know where I pulled the name from in the beginning actually, but since I'm diverging my own content on the channel, where I used to make haul videos like all the time and review videos, graphic novel updates and room tours and such and such. I mean, it was the default setting to pretty much any YouTube channel back in the day. But then back in the day also, I never like opened my mouth for any opinion that would offend anybody. I basically never spoke about anything I read in a higher manner or form. I just showed up and showed stuff that I bought.
Yeah.
But now I try to do more videos with the intent of maybe asking questions to myself and then making the audience ask themselves the same question, maybe about what your intent with the collection really is. And so here's an original question actually first up showing up. what was your first impression of a YouTube comic community misspelled on YouTube?
I thought it was amazing. Honestly, I've spoken to loads of people that I never ever would have met otherwise, and anyone I've ever spoken to during my time on YouTube, or even just other creators, have always been so lovely to me and so welcoming. One thing I was kind of worried a bit about was like, I don't know, obviously being new to comics during the first lockdown after being away for it for so long. I was worried that no one would even watch it or anything, and I just did it for a bit of fun at first, and now I still do it for fun. But yeah, I've really made some friends that I never ever would have met otherwise. People like Mad Dog Comics, Comic Bound, Stone Cold Comics, even people like Near Mint Condition, who are like top like tier comic creators on YouTube. I've spoken with Uncanny Omar, and he's lovely.
He has the numbers, but he's no different from anybody. Believe me.
Yeah, exactly.
He's a chill dude. He's still very down to earth.
Yeah, definitely. So like I've sent him messages, we've chat, like especially Marcus and Adam, like being on MDCA, that was kind of, I really enjoyed it because, like I say, I never ever would have met any of those guys before. And I started out just watching Marcus during the first lockdown. I did my haul video, and then I just literally just typed in on YouTube, like comic graphic novel hauls. And I remember around the time, I think Marcus was like at maybe like 300 subs or something. He's now at like close to 5K, I think. But so it's been really cool to watch these people that I've become friends with grow. And it's just been really cool to make all these friends. And I've never really had a bad experience. I have had a couple people on my videos, but I think you always get that, don't you, really?
You always get that. If you do stuff well and good, you are gonna get those people at you.
Yeah, I've never really had anyone say anything like terrible or horrible. I just remember the one that I'll talk about to some people, the one that kind of makes me laugh is I did a video that was like my top 10 anticipated books of the upcoming year. And I had stuff that was like, I think 5 omnibuses on there, and then a couple trade paperbacks. And so I did that video, and I was talking about, I think it was Chip Zdarsky's upcoming Spider Shadow, the trade paperback that's coming out later this year. And someone just commented being like, imagine trade paperback. And I was like, yeah, because that's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah. But I heard this from somewhere. It was like, if I catch the phrase right, if you're creating and not offending anybody, you're not creating for anybody.
Yeah.
So you have to take the bad with the good.
Yeah, exactly. No, it makes sense. It's a good saying.
Yeah. So with your education and everything from uni, how have you implemented your skills as a film student into your YouTube videos?
Yeah, so I did a degree as a filmmaker, and so it's kind of been, I think more so my skills as a filmmaker have been in editing and post-production. I try to implement that as much as possible. I don't want to, have long pauses between my words. Like I mentioned earlier, I'll stumble across stuff. So I try to keep the editing choppy to keep attention, but also have a certain flow to it where it doesn't, put people out and they're kind of looking like, oh wait, hang on, what's going on? So I think I've kind of, got stuff in post-production, especially with editing, that I've kind of used from my degree as a film student. But also in terms of like camera movement and stuff like that, like I kind of wanted to do cinematography more than anything else. So I like specialized, let's say. I did cinematography on every project pretty much. So like I'm always, when I'm setting up the camera, I'm like, wait, I need to make sure this looks okay. Like everything looks all right here. And then like I'll record for like 5 minutes and I'm like, oh wait, no, hang on, it's slightly to the side. So like alter that and then go back. I think everyone does that though. So
I hope they do, because I do. And I mean, you notice me just by setting this up and everything. The camera actually was tilted, and I really like it because I try to implement more like B footage into my own videos, and try to, with the A-roll footage, of course, talk to the camera. And for people that don't know the terms, I mean, A-roll is simply the main footage that you're watching throughout the whole clip or video or movie.
Yeah.
And then we have the B footage that is suggestive to what we are talking about or speaking about.
Definitely. That's something that That's something that I've really implemented in Beyond the Page, the B-roll, that like all the B-roll stuff that I've done. Like that, oh god, that editing takes
Beyond the Page.
It takes so long.
Beyond the Page, explain.
Yeah. Okay, so anybody that doesn't know, Beyond the Page is a series I do on my channel. I think at the moment I've got eight episodes out. Basically, we look at I look at comic creators and how they got their start in comics, their entire career throughout comics, what's next for them, stuff like their early life, where they were born. Just pretty much a mini documentary on a creator that's anywhere from like 6 to 11 minutes ish. So I recently did the episode on Scott Snyder, which is the longest one I've done. That's doing that because he has so much stuff that's upcoming.
Yeah.
So like that was like 12 minutes worth of stuff, and that's the longest one I've done. But that series is really, it was something I started out doing because so my first episode was on Robert Kirkman, who is my like personal favorite writer. I absolutely love Invincible, absolutely love Outcast that he's done. I read The Walking Dead a while ago. I've recently read Die, 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 stuff like Battle Pope. Literally, like
you've so read more than me.
So much of his stuff. So I did that because I kind of really enjoyed his stuff. And then episode 2 I did on Donny Cates because I'd not read any of his stuff, and so many people speak of like Cosmic Ghost Rider and stuff like that. And so I wanted to learn a bit more about that. And then since that, I've picked creators specifically that I either really enjoy or know absolutely nothing about. So I try to find the best of both. So like people like Scott Snyder, I really love his Batman run, but outside of that, I don't know anything.
Yeah.
So I'm sort of teaching myself whilst trying to teach other people as well.
Yeah, and going back to the MDC chat and everything, because as of this recording, I spoke to Adam yesterday, which is for you people last week. But he mentioned about the previous video before the Scott Snyder Beyond the Page. It was on, let's see here, it was on Karen Gillan. Yeah. If I remember this correctly, you knew nothing, or basically just surface knowledge about the dude.
Yeah, I'd read his Darth Vader stuff, and I'd read Die issue 1, the trade paperback, and that's it. That's all I like.
And when it comes to a video, that same night, you said that you were gonna work on that. It was a Friday evening, and then on Sunday, am I correct? The video is up.
Monday, I think.
Monday. Okay, so you took the whole weekend going from nothing into a 7-minute documentary.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. So that's
dedication.
Thanks. Thank you. So yeah, it was really interesting actually. Like I learned like, I don't know, so much about Kieran Gillen and like all these other creators, especially. Like I didn't even know Kieran Gillen was from the UK. That's how little I knew about the guy. And then I like did all my research, looked through all of his Marvel stuff, I looked through all of his like creator own stuff, and I was just kind of like, like I'm learning a lot about this. And I think that's the main thing I really love about the series and about doing the series. I get to kind of tell jokes through the editing, but also I really learn a lot.
Yeah, the editing part, I mean, that's the thing that got me interested in you when I checked out Beyond the Page videos, because you use a lot of B footage, and really it's like slide shots. Every word mentioned has a proper picture for it.
Yeah,
almost, and that's why it takes some time just editing it all and the research and everything, and just speak it all into the mic in a proper manner. I mean, for anybody that has to do or try to voice over, if you're a perfectionist, believe me, it takes time.
Yeah, definitely. That was, when I started, so the Robert Kirkman episode I did, and then since like Donny Cates and Matt Fraction, Chip Zdarsky, people like that, I did an entire day of research, like anywhere from like 3 to 5, 6 hours research and recording. So I'd research it all, record it in one day, and then the next 2 days, I'd normally do that on like a Friday, and then Saturday and Sunday would be just editing like nonstop. But my Jason Aaron video that I did, I was dog sitting for somebody, so I had my laptop there. I'd recorded it already, and this was, I think it was on the Monday because I'd been busy on the weekend with the dog. So it was on the Monday, and it was like maybe 11 a.m., 12 p.m. And I knew the video had to go up at 7. So I just spent 7 hours straight sat glued to my laptop editing.
Do you feel that you want to promise your audience a certain time when your videos are being released?
I try to because I
more for yourself or more for the audience?
Well, I think it's a really fine kind of balance between both. So I know that like if I try and release a Beyond the Page every Monday, and then I have like a video on the Wednesday and then a review on the Friday.
3 videos a week.
Yeah, that's what I'm trying to do. But I want to do that because, you know, now I finish university, I'm moving out of this house tomorrow. Like I have nothing. Oh. Yeah. I have.
We're going to talk about that.
Yeah, I have nothing other than my job that like I'm really doing at the minute. Like I have my hobbies that's like reading comics, going to the gym, stuff like that. But other than just going to work, now I finished my degree. It's kind of like I want something more, so I try to get these 3 videos out. And also, it's just if I promise like 7 p.m. on a Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I feel like it's better for people because they're like, oh, it's a Monday at 7 p.m. Cade must be uploading a video. So you get kind of that return in traffic almost as well.
Exactly. That's the exact same way that I do it. I mean, I try to post a video. If I make some original type of content video, I try to post it on a Friday because I want it to arrive for them on a Friday morning, and then they'll have the whole weekend to enjoy it. And it's only maybe at the longest a 10-minute video because I cherish my viewers' time as much as possible. And then when it comes to the interviews, of course, there's a longer interaction and everything, but I'll post that on Monday so they have the whole weekdays to watch it whenever they have time. So that's how I think about it when it comes to uploading different sort of videos.
Yeah, definitely.
And as you said, it makes for a more returning audience when they actually figure it out, because I haven't posted anywhere that there's going to be a video every Monday or Friday, interview and a video. It's more, let's see, on the banner, I think I posted that new videos every month. That's the promise.
Right.
So it sort of takes pressure off. And because I feel that if you put too much pressure on you, even with when constraints gives creativity in some sorts, if you're just pushing down your own time and everything, it may be a lack of effort when it comes to editing and everything, and maybe you can adopt something more if you just took some pressure off.
Right. Yeah.
I think I have several videos that I actually can point to when it comes to that, but I won't. So let's see. Do you set goals with your YouTube channel as well as your comic book collection?
Right.
I hope I'm not digging too deep here.
No, not
I'm just curious.
These are great questions that I've not really thought about. But no, so I guess setting goals. I have sort of a goal that I'd really love to hit.
It doesn't have to be numbers or anything. It could be what you want the channel to be and everything.
Yeah, of course. Like I have goals that I'd like the channel to hit a certain amount of subscribers before the end of the year. But like if it doesn't happen, then I'm not going to be absolutely heartbroken by it. I'm just like, it's just something that I would like. Be
fun.
Yeah, exactly. But then in terms of my personal YouTube journey, YouTube channel, I have goals that I try to stick to 3 videos a week, and if not 3 videos, then 2 videos, or at least try and get something out every week. I guess that's a goal for me because I want to kind of show stuff. Like I try to not miss a video, and if I do, then more often than not, I'm like, okay, well, what I'll do is I'll do 2 videos this week and make sure I have it for next week so I can do 3, and then so yeah, my goals with that is just to kind of get a good
rhythm
schedule with a good rhythm. Yeah, exactly. And with my comic book collection, yeah, I've got goals that's like whales that I would absolutely love.
Okay. I mean, what are you interested in reading that you've seen around?
I think at the minute the main one is JMS's Spider-Man Volume 1, but that is getting a reprint. So like that was kind of my main like whale that I'd absolutely love. Volume 1 of that, and also Volume 2. Like I would absolutely love to read that. I read, is it Coming Home, the Morland fight that's in that series?
The Homecoming arc. Yeah. That's the very first Spider-Man series that I read as a kid.
Yeah.
Translated to Swedish, but still.
But I absolutely loved that. Like that fight with Morland is incredible. And oh, so good.
Reading that. Oh God, now I'm getting reminiscent. Reading that.
Go, please.
Personally, when reading that, that's the first time that I feel with the character. I mean, I myself sort of get exhausted and start taking deeper breaths because they put the dialogue and monologue of his head, the narrating, in such a good manner, and you really feel for him. You feel tired as sorry.
No. That fight, I think that fight goes over like 4 issues, but it's like, God, I was reading that and just I was I don't know if I want to spoil it for anyone who might be watching this video.
I don't think we should. We shouldn't take it away. There's a big fight. There's a great villain being introduced within that JMS arc.
Yeah, but I absolutely love that, and that's like a series that I would love to get. Also, Brian Michael Bendis's Ultimate Spider-Man series, I'd love to get that. Trying to think what other omnis do I really want.
The same situation with that omnibus as well, because it's also getting a reprint later this year. And I myself, I already have the run, but I'm such a huge fan of it, and I like to downsize my number on my collection if I can. And so as I have the previous collected deluxe editions, I want them to release the omnibus
so that you can get it in one book.
Yeah, I think it would take 3 to collect the stuff that Bendis wrote before Miles Morales jumped into the series.
Yeah, I actually, interestingly, like you say, of having the books in one book rather than across. So it was my birthday in June, like a couple months ago. Well, when this video goes out, a while ago. So
half a year ago almost.
yeah, exactly. So it was my birthday in June, and I went round to a friend's house and we had a meal and it was lovely. And I was saying to him, I was like, "Oh, Jason Aaron's Thor, like you've got to read this." Like I read the trade paperback of God Butcher and I gave it to him and I was like, "You've got to read this." And then I was telling him about the rest of the series and War of the Realms, and I was like, "Okay, so this book's out of print, but it's apparently getting reprinted, and also there's a Jason Aaron like Thor omnibus coming out." And he knew that I'd read God Butcher and how much I loved it because I messaged him and I was like, because we both read comics, but like I more so than he. So then later on in the evening, I think I've got him down here somewhere. He gave me my present and it was volume 2 and 3 of Jason Aaron's complete Thor, like the paperbacks. So that was really great. But I'm in the same boat. I'm like, I really love that because it's a birthday present, but like I love the omnibus. So like maybe I get both, maybe I leave the omnibus, I don't know.
I mean, this goes different for anybody. As I said in the beginning, I'm sort of a minimalist, so I take each and everything by itself and value it for myself. What does this do for me and such? When it comes to my own collection, a lot of books have gone out the door by that. I don't think I mentioned this as much, but even some of my presents and Christmas gifts has gone out the door thanks to this mindset. And I've spoken openly about this to people that actually have given me those things. My brother, mainly. And there's no shame, actually, if you want the 4 Omnibus by Jason Aaron instead to have it all in a completed format, I think. And I mean, I think your friend is just happy that you get to enjoy the story still. And if not, tell him that you sold those books to purchase that book. So
I used the money.
You just evolved the paperbacks into that form. It's still his gift to you.
Yeah, exactly.
That's one way to get around this.
Yeah. So I guess that's kind of all my goals. I think mainly my one goal that I do quite have is sort of reading more publishers, things like that. I'd love to, I'm getting into a lot of Image stuff now. Like I'm absolutely loving a lot of Image stuff that I've read. And stuff like I'd like to get into more, maybe standalone publishers or things like that, maybe independent publishers. I'm still going to read like Marvel, DC. Like I'm still going to read the big two. I'm not going to shy away from that completely, but I want.
But you're ready to widen the range a bit.
Exactly. Yeah. So
because everybody starts at their favorite superhero.
Yeah.
At most times, I mean, it's either that or manga, and you convert into comic books, or vice versa. The thing is, you want to discover more good stories out there.
Yeah, exactly. So I recently, like I've like I say, I read all the Image stuff, and then I've got other stuff. So like I read Irredeemable the other day, the Boom Studios book. I picked up Something Is Killing the Children a while ago. I haven't read that yet, but just stuff from different publishers, different creators, stuff like that. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, I mean, it's what it's all about. I mean, discovery. It's never going to stop. They're never going to stop publishing things. It's all about, with all of this content, trying to dig out the gems within it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
And I mean, there's so many essential reads out there, but like I can only speak for myself, but I've discovered that all the essential reads, namely, aren't essentials at all, because we all have different tastes. So it's about finding your own essentials.
Exactly. Like so many people say Batman Killing Joke is an essential read. And if you read that when you're 11, you definitely not think it's an essential read.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let's see here. I bring up another stuff like constantly, and I ask my guest this question all the time. Have you ever experienced the FOMO, the fear of missing out, within the community?
Definitely. Yeah, definitely. So I think mainly it's with books I haven't read and stories that I'm not massively aware of. I'll see. Well, I think mainly it was, I don't know, like big ones that kind of jump out at me are stuff like Spider-Man and stuff like Invincible. I remember a lot of people on YouTube had read Invincible, and everyone was talking about Invincible, especially when the show came out. And I hadn't read it, and I hadn't read it, so I had no idea what was going on, like in the wider story. I absolutely loved the show, but I hadn't read the book. And so I kind of, I guess, experienced FOMO that way. But also it was a good thing because it meant that I was experiencing it for the first time. So since then, I went away, read the entire series, absolutely loved it. Yeah. And yeah, it was I guess an example of FOMO in the sense that I hadn't
definitely
read it, but also it was good for me. I get that a lot with Spider-Man. So the first Spider-Man book I ever read was Chip Zdarsky's life story, which
nice.
A lot of people. Sorry, go ahead.
Is that the first Spider-Man story that you got into, modern-wise? Okay,
yep.
that's it's a special situation, I would say, because it's dependent on so much rich history with Spider-Man, since it does go through the lifetime of Peter Parker as he would be 15 in the 1960s when the series started, and then aging appropriately for each
it goes through like
decade.
Everything, yeah. So so I knew stuff, like I'd watched the animated show, I'd played Spider-Man on the PS2. Yeah, exactly. I knew about the character. Like, I knew who Venom was. I knew who the Green Goblin was. I knew who Miles Morales was. So I was reading this book, and like you read stuff about like the Clone Saga and stuff like that. I knew who Ben Reilly was, but I haven't read the Clone Saga. So reading life stories, I absolutely loved it because it introduced me to all these characters in 6 issues, and I absolutely loved it. And so many people, it's really mixed. So many people are like, that's an incredible way to start because you have everybody that you could ever want. And then other people are like, that is a terrible way to start. Why did you read that first?
Personally, I think you would appreciate it more. I mean, you can always go in at it again after you've experienced some other stories and then find new stuff to discover, because with it going in it with new green eyes on Spider-Man, I think there's a lot of things that might go over your head because there's a lot of references there and a lot of changes, of course, making it work with the whole decade jumping through each and every issue. And as you notice, all the events that takes place and issues also took place in that decade and such. So you'll discover much more of that. And really, I think the most perfect issue in that series really was issue number 1, because that's when it all started. And you really didn't know where it went because it went to a place that I didn't expect it, really in the middle of a run.
Yeah.
But still, I think you can jump in it either way. Still, I mean, I read The Dark Knight Returns by Frank Miller. I hope you heard of this.
Oh, of course. Yeah, that's another animated film I've seen. That's another of the DC animated films.
One of my favorites. And jumping into that early within reading DC, I think you're actually going a little too quick with it, because the first time I read that, I hated it because I didn't understand it. I didn't understand the setting properly that we were in, and what comics had come before and after, and what the comic really set for a tone in it, because I didn't know how to read my comics properly, I guess, because the animated series really helped me with the dialogue and the tone and pacing of the whole story. It took me a week to read that book for the first time, because it's like 4 issues, but they're 50-page each. And I was like, there's so much dialogue. There's more panels than any Watchmen comic you ever open up. And it's never stopping. And probably when you're doing like that, counting the pages and going through it, how much is there left, you're probably not enjoying it. But as I said, when the animated movie of it came out, it helped me a lot going through it. So, and also by the time I bought that Dark Knight Returns paperback and watched the movies, I had read a lot of more Batman, and could go back and appreciate that story much more. I even think that you would appreciate Batman Year One even more if it's not your first Batman comic.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. I read Batman Year One quite a way in. Like, I'd read quite a lot of other Batman stuff before I read Year One, and I read Year One and absolutely loved it because, you know, it was kind of the origin, but like I'd read so much stuff that kind of before it that comes after, but it was, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. So still sticking here on the FOMO thing.
Yeah.
When it comes to ordering your books, because I think that's when it really takes a hold of people. They hear about a book in the solicits. They've never heard of a book, but maybe it has the name Omnibus on it, or maybe it's a run that they never thought would actually get a printing. Have you experienced that sort of tick? If no, you are blessed.
I don't know. I've definitely got series that I would absolutely love to have an omnibus that obviously haven't. But I don't know. I've heard of solicitations that I'm like, oh, why has that got one? You know?
Yeah. And that's good, because that you can just shun off and you don't have to bother with it at all. But
yeah, exactly.
If there's something that comes out from the Marvel or DC solicits. I mean, because I felt this, like, for example, Deathstroke by Christopher Priest. I read the first paperback of that. I don't know if it's actually coming out now, but when I first saw that it was in a catalog somewhere, I thought I wanted that.
Yeah, me too. I saw that on eBay. The Omni for that, the first omnibus for that.
Oh, yeah, the new 52 version. Yes.
Yeah, the new 52. I saw that on I saw it on eBay, and I could have bid on it, and I think in the end it sold for like £35, which for that is very cheap. And I was like, I was like, do I want this? I was like, I quite like Deathstroke, and I ended up not picking it up. And then since that, I've definitely thought about it. I'm like, should I have got it? Should I not? I don't know.
Well, not necessarily that the price does equal quality.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
It is, but maybe that isn't the most popular run. But the Christopher Priest, that is the one that wrote the Rebirth Deathstroke series, a different iteration, of course, of a character. I myself only read the first 6 issues for a paperback and was sort of interested, but just sleeping on it and everything. Maybe this was more impulse by just seeing it there, and then no, I don't think I need it. But then certain other books, when it comes close to being released and everything, if you follow such things, you sort of get, okay, now it's now or never, or it's gonna run out of stock and I'm gonna miss out. That's probably the most current situation that people compare the fear of missing out with.
Yeah, 100%.
But as you said, but also I like the angle that you took with just this comes out, this TV show, Invincible, and I've never read it, so what am I missing out on? That's also a perspective that I haven't glanced on for a long time, because you sometimes forget that other people haven't experienced or learned all the same things. And that's really why it's important to teach each other as fast as you can when you learn something new, because you'll forget how it was not knowing.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm definitely still massively in that, the fear of missing out. Like, I'm still massively in that. So like with the upcoming reprint for like War of the Realms, the Jason Aaron Thor omnibus, the upcoming JMS reprint, I would absolutely love all of those books, but I'm worried if I don't pre-order them now, like I'm going to miss out and not get them, and they're going to go straight out of print again. So
it's about definitely knowing what you like and what you want. It really helps. And if you have a budget, even more so that you actually can do those pre-orders and safely take them out. Let's see here. Oh, sorry. Same question. I mean, do you have any other advice on it, except for pre-order, to maybe take control on your FOMO? This question has been changed, I should add, since last week when Adam was on, and he spell corrected me on how I asked this question for 8 streams in a row. But here we go. What is your best advice to control the fear of missing out? Maybe you can tackle it another way.
I think you need to know. No, I think you need to know what you want personally. I think you need to know, what you want, and you might see something like, for example, everyone's talking about Invincible. You've never read it. You need to know what you want before you buy all of it. Like, I watched the show. I knew that I really enjoyed the character of Mark Grayson. I knew that I absolutely loved Robert Kirkman's writing. So I was like, okay, that seems like it's going to be something I want. So then I picked up the compendium rather than the hardbacks, because it was a better way for me to read it. So I guess it's just kind of, if everyone else is buying it, you can kind of sometimes fall into a mob mentality that's like, okay, well, everyone's ordering this upcoming Luke Cage omnibus or this upcoming Black Panther omnibus, so let me get in on that now before they all go. Whereas you might have never read a Luke Cage. You might have never read a Black Panther. You might not know, really anything about the character, but you're getting it because it's coming out and everyone else is getting it. I think, you just need to really know what you want and what you kind of, what books and what stories you want to own. Because if you buy something and you end up not liking it, you're only going to resell it or keep it in your collection and not read it.
I think that's the first time we hear the word and phrase mob mentality within this question. And I think there's so much into that. And whether it's intentional or not within the community, when we do post our haul videos and everything and showing up what we bought this week or this month, with each and every one of us maybe have 1 or 2 free titles in common, and all of the one person that is subscribed to all of us see us picking it up makes it for them to feel that, okay, I think I need this to keep up with these guys. And sure, I don't know anything about it, but yeah, spend.
Yeah.
It should be read, really, not spend.
Exactly.
But that's how it goes sometimes.
Yeah, I've definitely been victim to that. I've definitely spent way more on books than I could ever read. Like I've bought loads more books than I could read, and like I've read a lot of my books. Like I've just packed them at the minute, so like they're in boxes. But like I have, I don't know, like 3 foot high like stacks of the books, and then I still have like 2 of those that I haven't read. That is like so much stuff. Like I'm trying to pick up at the minute the library editions of Hellboy, and I haven't read the first one, but like I recently ordered the second one, and like the Why the Last Man omnibus, I picked that up because I know it's something I want to read, but like I haven't read it, and like I'm still picking up these books when I have like so much to read. So I'm definitely like a victim of that.
I talked with Adam about this. I've talked with a lot of people about this. How, I mean, if you ever want to go back to your old books, you'll have to read more than you buy each and every month. It's the only way, at least if you want to finish off all the new stuff before you go back to the old stuff. You can, of course, neglect the new stuff, but then and then read your old stuff, but then it will just pile up, and you'll never get rid of that backlog. I made a similar, I compared it to doing the freaking dishes at home. You can buy new plates and eat from them, but that dish pile is gonna have to be tackled at some point, and at that point it's such a chore. And reading your books shouldn't be a chore.
Oh, exactly. Yeah, 100%. Yeah, I go through really weird phases of buying my books. So like for example, I'll buy something I know I'm interested in, and then like a while ago, I really wanted to read about the character Prometheus, who is like the evil Batman. So I picked up like Cry for Justice by Grant Morrison and some other stuff with him in.
James
and
Robinson.
Then
sorry, I should correct you.
It's okay. No, it's okay. I'm just trying to think of stuff that I've picked up, and like all these books. Anyway, so like I picked up this, and then now like I'm going through and trying to tackle some of my back catalogue, and I'm like, why do I have this? I'm like, in the moment I really, really wanted to read it more than anything, and now it's been like a couple months. I'm like, all right, why do I have this?
But that's really good. It's good that you have that insight. I mean, I would say pretty early within your collecting career and everything, and showing it up on YouTube and everything, because you're exposing yourself with your collection and everything, and your thought pattern about it. I mean, we all do. I mean, and if all we do is haul videos, I mean, that's showing one side of it. But what I really like is the collecting mentality of it all, because we all like different stuff. So that could be another video and discussion.
Yeah.
Because I really find this interesting. And I mean, I hope you do too, talking about this.
No, I definitely do. Definitely. I, like yourself, like I started off YouTube just doing haul videos. That's why I have like so many books in my back catalogue, because I would buy all the books that I wanted and like just do them as a haul video. I'd be like, oh, it's okay, because I'll buy them this month and I'll do a haul video. Like I wouldn't do monthly hauls. I'd do literally like weekly, bi-weekly hauls. Yeah, and it
just as soon as the things got in, basically.
Yeah. As soon as I had enough books, I'd be like, yeah, all right, I'll do a haul this week. And then that's kind of why starting like Beyond the Page and my reviews have really helped me to, one, cut down on my spending, and two, read the books that I have. Because now I'm like, if I buy books, it'll be in my monthly haul that I do at the end of the month.
Yeah.
So I don't just buy books. I'm like, right, this will be this week's video, and then this will be, and I think that just comes with, wanting to read a lot more of the stuff that you have, and understanding that, you have this massive back catalogue of books that you might get round to eventually. But if you keep buying books and keep buying a bunch of stuff, you're never ever going to get round to it, because it's going to just pile on top of it.
Yeah, because the fear of missing out is not only on books that's going to be released, it's a fear of missing out on the books that you already have. Because you fear that you don't have the time for those.
Yeah. Like I have had fear of missing out on the books I've already got. Like, I've got the Batman Eternal series and Batman and Robin Eternal, but I haven't read it yet. Like, I have them in the 4 hardbacks, but I've just not read it. So I'm like, I know I want to read that at some point, but I just get so much other stuff that I buy that I'm like, oh, I really want to read this. No, let me read this. I
think it's really good with the 5-book review videos that you started now, because if you want to make that at least once per month, that would mean at least 5 books read that month.
Yeah, exactly. That is like, that's something that's really helped me to read it, because I know I want to do those videos, and obviously, like, I read comics anyway. I don't read them, just for the videos, but I read them.
No.
And I normally read books before I go to bed. So I have, like, next to my bed, like, I have my cabinet, and then, like, I have books on top of that. So last night I read Tom King's Complete Vision. And
nice.
I read the first 6 issues of that, and it's 12 issues. Like, I read the first
How
6,
could you stop?
And I was like, exactly. No, exactly. I was like, I could go to bed now. Like, I could go to bed, and, like, you'll know this. Like, I message you and, like, the early morning. Like, I could go to bed now, or I could read the rest, like the last 6, and record that video tomorrow, because that'll be the 5th one. And I was like, yeah, you know what? Yeah, I may as well. And then tomorrow evening I can read something else or whatever.
Yeah, I really like that too. Also, when you start finishing off a book, do you use lists or anything, or Goodreads? I talked about this with Adam last week, about trying to get some stuff done. And I really get it done by just writing it up, really, and trying to scratch it off.
Yeah, definitely. Like, I have Goodreads, and I have a list of books on there that I want to read. And yeah, more often than not, I guess I kind of, like, impulse buy sometimes. Like, I'm a lot better at it now. I don't do it now.
We're all guilty on this.
Yeah, but if I see a book that I know I want to read, like, I'm trying to think, like Dan Slott's Spider-Man, for example. I haven't read that, but I know I want to read it. So I'll add, like, volume 1 to my want to read on Goodreads, and then eventually, like, I'll pick it up and I'll read it, because it'll be ticking it off the list, but I know it's also something I really want to read.
Here's the thing. Here's how I use Goodreads, and I never thought of this, because of course we all have different iterations with that too, because you have your want to read and your reading list and your reads.
Yeah.
And I only log the books that I have physically, or I know that's on the way, because otherwise, if I put something that I want to read this, but I can't for certain say that I'll have the copy ever, I don't want to have it there.
Okay. See, that's completely different to me. I have it as, like, I have the want to read list as kind of these books that I guess almost plan for future hauls. So, like, at the end of maybe September or something, I'll look through my want to read. I'm like, oh, you know what? I really want to read this, or this, and so I'll pick it up.
That's the difference on where you and me also meet in the experience of both comic book collecting and YouTube, because I've been doing this for 9 years now, I think, going on 10 next summer. And I know I'll have to do something about that, I think.
Definitely.
But I mean, I think my peak was somewhere at 900, if not 1,000 books before I moved from this apartment.
Wow.
2 years back. Now I'm back, of course, but with half as much books, because as of 2 years back, I started to declutter my collection and really purge it from the stuff that I didn't think that I would want to reread. And some of them I was uncertain of, so I read them simply and to see how I felt about them. And most of which was the last time I read them. And it was all of the stress of with this many books, how many can I actually reread if I keep all of it? Because it would take me years to reread all of it, to go lap after lap around it. So I read, as I said, I love making lists. So the last 4 years, I've actually logged every single title that I've read. And that was way long before Goodreads. So I know that I read about 160, 180 titles per year, something like that. So that means if I have, like, let's say my graphic novel collection is 300 books, it's going to take me 2 years to go one lap.
Yeah.
And as it was with 900 to 1,000, I mean, it would take me a decade.
Yeah, that is crazy. I'd never thought of that, but that is, yeah, I think put into that perspective, it's, you really sort of have to think about your collection and rereading. Like, I have stuff that, you know, I've read through that I maybe don't want to reread, or like, you know, I'm not really bothered about rereading, that I might sell or something. But at the minute, it's just kind of on my shelf, and I'm like, yeah, I should sell that. So it's really interesting to look at it that way.
Yeah, because I'm like always hassling about time as well, and it's all different where you are in your life. I mean, you could be a teenager now, you can be in your mid-20s, mid-30s, maybe creating a family, or your family's moving out, so more time maybe is entering your free time, or maybe you're in your senior years and you're thinking about the future and stuff. I mean, depending on how much free time you actually think that you have, that all goes into the possessions that you have and the time that they take from you. It shouldn't feel like they're taking it. They're giving you pleasure, of course, in the moment of enjoying them, but still weighing the two against each other. What would I really appreciate taking my time on, and what maybe I'm just wasting away on other stuff? And that could be just some books that are worse than others. I mean, good books are not good enough for me anymore. That's why I try to slim down my collection to the essentials while you are still building up yours, to then maybe find out what's more essential. And there's nothing that says that you can't do that whilst building it up as well.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's why I want to meet you, because I mean, not that the sub count really matters, but I was thinking that you're pretty new to YouTube and everything, and I want to rise you up now with this video. I hope I really can give you something back by doing this interview as well.
Oh, thank you.
Of course, people are going to check out your channel because it's linked down below and everything. But I mean, I really wanted to meet someone with a fresh perspective on both collecting as well as the YouTube community.
Yeah,
because it's interesting, as I said, because when you learn something and don't teach it right away, you forget how it was. And 9 years into this, sort of forget how it was getting into this and what the mind pattern was.
Yeah, of course.
So
yeah, it's all. Yeah, I know. It's crazy to think, like, even me, like I'm like you say, I'm fairly new to it all, but I've been doing it nearly a year. It's crazy to think that I started doing this nearly a year ago and have done it since, but it's wild. It's crazy.
Yeah, I need to find someone that just entered last week or last month. Yeah. And hey, you don't really know me at all. Welcome. Do you want to have a live chat?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so what do we have left on the plate here? Did you used to visit the annual Comic-Con convention?
I didn't know. So I actually have never been to a Comic-Con.
And with being fairly new to it, I guess I should have changed this question to: do you want to visit the annual Comic-Con convention now?
Oh yeah, 100%. I'd love to. Like, absolutely love to. It's really difficult for me, and I think for a lot of people that got I think it's difficult for me and for a lot of people that either got back into comics or into comics in the first place during lockdown, because like I say, I was like what 13, 14 when I first started reading, and like my parents weren't going to take me to a Comic-Con because they didn't really want to. They weren't bothered about it.
It's
But
really
now
something that you have to do on your own, probably, because you don't want to drag them to every place. It'll be like going to the Tivoli again. I don't know.
Yeah. No, it's like now I'm 21, but I've been all the time I've been collecting comics and doing YouTube has been in lockdown, like, or with restrictions or whatever. So like these Comic Cons, these cons or whatever haven't really been going ahead, and if they have, like, I've not been able to visit them for certain reasons. But I would absolutely love to visit one, and I think more so to meet everyone in person. So like to meet people like Mad Dog Comics, Comic Bound, yourself if you went to one, like everybody.
We want to do that whenever lockdown is over and it's safe travels again, because a trip to the UK actually wouldn't be anything. I mean, it's a 1 hour flight away.
Yeah.
So it's definitely in the cards, actually, I would say. And now it's recorded and everything. So
yeah.
Here's a promise, I guess.
But yeah, so I'd like to go to one because I'd like to obviously meet everyone that I've met online in person, and also I think it's just a whole experience, isn't it? Like I've done volunteer work at like horror conventions before. So I've done I've done camera work for I've done camera work for horror conventions. I've done it twice, and they were like a whole thing in themselves. So like I enjoy horror films, but I'm not a massive horror fan. And going and working at these horror conventions, you have people, dressed up as Freddy Krueger and dressed up as Jason Voorhees, and they're in character, like they're walking around in character. And I have a camera, and I'm like filming the interviews with I'm trying to think who was even there. The guy from, I can't remember his name. Anyway, it doesn't matter. But I was filming the interviews, and like these people would walk up to me, and I'd be like, "Oh, nice costume, nice mask," and they'd like lift up the mask, and they'd have all the scars, and it was like insane.
Wait, was it Jason from Friday the 13th?
Yeah, that was the guy who lifted the mask up. But the person that was interviewing was from Wolf's Creek. I can't remember his name though, but yeah, he I don't know. Yeah, the whole thing with horror, like, that was an experience in itself. So that for comics, for me, would be amazing. Like, just to see that about something that I'm so passionate for would be incredible.
You could play bingo at some conventions. Believe me. I mean, print out something, and whenever you see like 4 Harleys or 5 Deadpools or Spider-Man, because there's never been a con that hasn't had one of those.
Yeah,
sets.
Definitely.
So, okay, what is the best thing about the YouTube comic book community? I think we've spoken about this, but still, just to get it on.
The best thing about the YouTube comic book community is the people themselves, whether that be creators, viewers. The best thing is the people, because everybody, like I say, everybody I've met, everyone I've talked to has been so lovely, so welcoming. People like comic book creators who genuinely have a passion for doing this. They make videos because they want to make videos, not because they have to or because it's something that, I don't know, they're forced to do. Nobody's forced to make videos on YouTube. You do it because you want to do it. So everybody, has the same opinion. And so to meet people that are like you, you can become friends with. That's the best thing about it. And then meeting people that support your channel, people that watch your channel, you know, it's even better. Like I've met people who I've met through the comments section on my YouTube videos. People that have commented and been like, "Oh, this is a great video," and then I've seen them on Instagram and they've sent me a message and I've like talked to them. It's really cool. So yeah, it's just great to meet people. So I think the people are the best thing.
Awesome, great answer. And these are sort of I mean, what this is all about with finding fandom and everything is how, first of all, what makes you a comic book fan? Is it I read comic books, therefore I am, or is it something else?
Oh, this is a question.
This is a philosophy class now.
Yeah. So I think for me, it's the sense of escapism. So I mentioned earlier, I did a film degree, and the main thing about film that I absolutely loved was the escapism, but also the expressionism that you can have creating a film of your own. So with comics, to read about Spider-Man that's like a 15-year-old kid that has powers, who doesn't want to have Spider-Man powers and like swing around? Like, it's amazing. So it's this sense of escapism in the sense that you read about a world where Mark Grayson is a superhero who can fly to space and battle like an alien race, or someone like a horror comic like Outcast or Nailbiter, where it's this like serial killer that you'd never have in real life. It's this escapism that comes with anything that really makes me a fan of it, you know, of kind of everything about it. And also just the stories you can tell through comics you can't really tell anywhere else. So awesome. Yeah,
I really resonate with that, because I think a lot of people resonate with the escapism part, but also I like what you mentioned about expressionism, to express oneself throughout the comic books, both if you write it or read it.
Yeah, exactly.
And here we have add something?
No, I was just going to say there's books that I've read that I never ever would have thought I resonate so much with. And yeah, there's just weird, like, I remember reading, well, like, to go back to Coming Home, I remember reading that and wanting to read that because it was a great Spider-Man story, but like resonating with that so much. And like Bendis's Ultimate Spider-Man as well. Like, I don't know, just resonating with that character. And like, I go back to Invincible, resonating with that because you see Mark Grayson grow up and like he becomes a man, and like,
it's a whole life.
Exactly, yeah.
So, Cade, how would you describe your fandom?
Oh, my fandom.
I think sometimes I feel that it's the same question, but sometimes I feel that it could be something else.
No, not at all. So I think as a fan myself of comics, I adore anything that is a good story. I adore anything that's a good story and that is really, you can tell the creator is enjoying what they're writing. So to go back to Spider-Man life stories, like, you can tell that Chip Zdarsky had fun writing that, and you can tell that he enjoyed writing that, and you can tell that Robert Kirkman enjoys writing his stuff, and you can tell that I don't know, other kind of stories, like the creators really enjoy what they do, but then you get some stuff where it's like a Superman or a Batman or whatever, and it's a good story, but maybe it's not as hard hitting, it's not as good, it's just kind of like Bizarro versus Superman, and it's kind of like, okay,
it's one of the many, it's one in a bunch.
But I guess my fandom is kind of just like, I'm a fan of a good story.
That's great. I mean, I think any are. Not talking down on the answers here. Sorry.
No, not at all.
I appreciate this immensely, Cade. Thank you for doing this. I have one more question before I let you go.
All right. No, don't worry. Like,
where can people find you?
So on YouTube, it's Cade's Comics. On Instagram, I'm trying to think, Cade YouTube, because Cade's Comics was taken. So it's Cade YouTube on Instagram.
Who's taking these names? Who's taking our names?
I don't know. I don't know. So like I was like, oh, what can I come up with? And I did that. So I'm on Instagram. Instagram's probably the one I use most, to be honest. Like if ever anyone wanted to get in contact with me, Instagram is the way to go. I have a Facebook page as well. I think that's all, to be honest. Just the YouTube, Instagram, Facebook.
That is what I'll link down below in the description, everybody.
Oh, great. So, thanks.
Okay, man, thanks so much for doing this interview with me.
It's all right. Thank you so much for having me. It's been amazing.
It's been a pleasure. And to all of you that are watching this, thanks so much for watching this. Next week, we have finally near mint condition himself, Omar, is joining us for a Finding Fandom interview. I hope you'll really enjoy it. I can only describe it as finally, because I've been wanting to have a man on here for a very long time, ever since he showed up at the Justice League Snyder Cut appearance that when we had a little live discussion. So yeah, next week, near mint condition. I hope you'll watch that, Cade. I hope you'll watch that.
100%. I look forward to that. That'll be great.
Awesome. Thanks again. Thank you all for watching.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.